He's got everything. He's got everything you want. He has height. He has mass. He's very, very typical. So this might be a Boone and Crockett buck here.
Our hunters are back in their tree stands, and they're on the hunt for big, beautiful Alberta whitetails.
Yeah, that's the keeper. Look at the size of that thing.
Welcome to Bowzone Live. Bowzone Live is brought to you by these fine sponsors: Aventura, Annihilator, Bronc Beer, Hex, Lone Wolf Taxidermy, Lowdown Viewer, Moultrie Products, Onyx Maps, Portable Winch Co., Timber Stoves, and Wild TV Plus.
You're looking at today's co-host getting set up. There's a photo of a beautiful buck that he took, and then some visuals on the video side of things. Nice little hop over the fence. Taylor Thompson right here on Bowzone Live as we roll on Season 5 inside the Wild TV studios. And Taylor, that was a small snippet of what we're about to see today. You saw that nice photo that Taylor took there. I'm just going to say it right now. Biggest buck. But we barely got you in studio. Look, what have you been up to? Look at this. What'd you do?
Yeah, well, I was busy helping a buddy in the morning with a whitetail buck he shot, and I got a call from my father-in-law and brother-in-law that were about an hour away from home moose hunting.
Yep.
They called, they're all excited, they got a moose. I was like, well, that's kind of funny they're calling. Sure enough, they say our side-by-side, we were kind of parked on a slough. It's frozen, snowy conditions. They didn't realize that the ice wasn't that thick, and they sunk it. So I turned into a machine recovery specialist at that point. So it was an all-day adventure.
Well done. And you're a helpful hand as well. Like when you're not busy doing your own hunting and taking care of your family, you're helping out others as well. So you're no stranger to this show as well. You've been doing it for a couple of years. Yeah. You're an immaculate dresser, might I say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think great minds think alike. Yeah. But give us, I know we don't want to give away too much about that big buck that we're going to be seeing more of later, but give us a taste of what you've seen this season.
Yeah, so, I've been on the show for maybe 2, maybe 3 years now, and haven't shot a buck yet. So I've just been saving it up to kind of shoot the biggest one, was kind of my hope. So
right.
I figured I would pull the trigger. It was early in the season. It was very early in the archery season, but I figured, hey, if I'm going to be on the show, I may as well make it worth my time, right? So.
Yeah, and that is exactly what you did. Are you comfortable in the co-host chair?
Absolutely.
I think so. You're going to be great. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be a tremendous show here on Wild TV as we continue on Bowzone Live. It's been a lot of fun. All right, Taylor, what have you seen so far that you've liked from our other hunters really quickly?
Well, it's the conditions, that they're changing. It started off as a bit of a warm November. We were all kind of dealing with the same thing. The cameras weren't showing a ton. It's kind of going a little in and out. But now that the big storm is blowing in, I think it's really going to flick a switch here. The bucks are kind of going back for that second cycle of in the estrus. They're looking for does again. So I think over this next 2-3 days, there's going to be a lot hitting the ground. I'm
glad you bring up conditions because we want to take a look at those as the weather has changed. It has gotten a lot colder. You're seeing snow today, a little bit of sunny breaks here and there, and then not really anything sunny till Thursday, but we're dipping into, minus 13, minus 14 range there. What's that doing for our hunters? A lot of people saying they like this.
Yeah, you know what? It's one of those things that you love it and you hate it because the hunting will get better. You're going to get more daylight movement. Animals got to be moving more, feeding more. But it's tough to roll out of your bed in the morning when you're nice and warm and you're going to go sit and freeze for 4 or 5 hours. So it's kind of one of those things. But you got to go out there because this is what we all wait for.
Right. Okay. Well, you didn't have to freeze, thankfully. Although you are helping your friends and family out there in the field. A massive buck is what Taylor Thompson has to show us. We're going to get a look at that a little bit later on here on Bowzone Live. There we go. We're looking at some footage that you shot out in the field. Conditions were way different when you were out there.
A little warmer, I think it was plus 30 almost. So yeah, pretty stark difference to what we're dealing with now.
Hi, I'm Chase Kohler. I am Ryan's son. I am new to Bowzone. It's my first year hunting, and one tip I think I got that's really good is when I get in full draw, I like to scream, aim in my head, and I think it helps me calm down, calm me down from a deer. Yeah, that's what I got.
In Alberta, how long is the archery-only season at the WMU? That includes the Edmonton Bowzone.
3 months.
Give me the dates.
September 1 to November 30th.
Goes till the end of November. End of November from the beginning of September.
September 1st to November 30th.
2 for 2. Well done.
Which one do you want the answer for?
Start with the one we're at.
247 is until November 30th. However, 248, which is Strathcona County side, you can do archery until I think it's December 5th.
Well, actually, 247 goes to November 30th, and then it goes longer into December for County Strathcona.
That was more than correct. Well done.
I'm going to say August 25th, or whenever, the last week of August till the 1st of December.
Very close, like September 1st to November 30th.
See, I was close.
About 0.5. All right, welcome back to Bowzone Live. Tom Gazzola with Taylor Thompson as we roll along this season. It's been a lot of fun, and we heard a little bit from Taylor earlier on, helping people out. We have gotten to know you in the last couple of years a little bit, but I think, we should get into the minutia of Taylor Thompson now. I think that's an important thing to do because we will see the buck. It's a big one. We can assure you of that. But Taylor, bucket list hunt for you. If someone threw that at you, you're sitting around with a Bronc beer over a fire or something like that, and you go, what would be the ideal hunt that you would want to do, the one of your dreams? What would you tell people?
I think for me, I've always thought going to the Yukon, like Yukon, Alaska, like moose, grizzly bear, doing that with a bow. I just, growing up watching all those different shows, and you're always seeing the size of those animals, and I always think taking a grizzly would be a really exciting hunt with a bow. Yeah. Right? But definitely those two are up there for me.
Do you, when you think about that, does that decision or that thought come from listening to friends, family, peers that maybe have done it, and that's how you're like, I don't necessarily love going and doing that hunt over there, but you know what you did was pretty cool. Is that how you formulate that, or was it always in your mind that would be the ideal hunt?
For me, it was growing up watching Wild TV, seeing all the different, watching all those guys growing up, Jim Shockey's and all those guys. It was just seeing those different hunts just kind of ingrained in my mind. And we're lucky in Alberta here. We get to chase a lot of different animals. A lot of people come to Alberta to hunt, sheep, antelope. We can hunt a lot here, but I just always thought the Yukon or Alaska, just with the size of the moose and the grizzly bears, is just a very unique experience.
Okay, cool. We got that out of the way. We've established it. How about gear and upgrades? How do you like to roll?
Yeah, well, big one for me that I just picked up last year, and with this weather forecast we have going on right now, is it's affordable now to get Bluetooth heated socks. I have rechargeable hand warmers. I got heated hoodies. So I'm like a bionic man out in the forest at this point.
Right.
You might be able to see me from space, But the fact is, it gets you in the stand and it gets you in there longer because, we all grew up struggling with, whatever cheap camo my dad gave me and just told me to sit on a bucket and pick me up in 4 hours. So nowadays, if I can spend a little extra and make it a little more comfortable, I'm all in for that.
How do you prep for hunts? What's the key to a Taylor Thompson hunt?
Well, trail cameras is a big one. I think everybody uses those nowadays. So it's, I work shift work. I do a lot of Google Maps scouting. I have a lot of downtime on night shifts. So I'm often looking on maps and just trying to get, find different areas and looking at landowner maps. And so I find that's a big thing for me, and just getting out there and actually doing some scouting. Cameras, I feel, only tell you 20% of what's going on out there.
Okay, one other one for you. How do you impart advice upon hunters, especially new ones that might be looking to get in the game?
Yeah, I think, it's one of those things where it helps if you have somebody guiding you to get into it. So, if you hear people talking about hunting, maybe just asking them, saying, hey, do you mind taking me out? Because it's a hard thing to learn on your own. You probably won't have much success, and you probably won't stick with it. So if you can have somebody out there guiding you, kind of getting you into it, I think that's more long-term success at that point, and you might keep with it. So for me, it's just trying to find a mentor out there, or trying to join any local clubs or groups or anything like that, just to kind of get you with like-minded people, and you'll probably find, you know, I have a lot of lifetime friends just from hunting.
You're also known as a glue guy. I'll just call you the glue guy around here on Bowzone Live. More with Taylor coming up. You're going to see that big, beautiful buck. But we've also got this great story to tell you. There you're seeing a letter from a young hunter named Ty. He had a cursive assignment, and that assignment led to a hunting experience he will never forget. We're going to see that and more right here on Bowzone Live in just a little bit.
Your next adventure begins now with Aventura. This innovative heated beverage delivers instant warmth anywhere thanks to self-heating technology that warms your drink in just 3 minutes. Whether you're camping, hiking, or standing quietly in your tree stand, Aventura is an adventure essential for a hot drink or nourishing soup. Enjoy the taste of true convenience on the go with Aventura.
Hey, I'm Logan. I've been wearing Hex for a few years now, and it has put me into some incredible situations with wild animals. So Hex is the human energy concealment system. Animals actually pick that up. We talk about how they always have a sixth sense. We wonder often why they know where we're at, but with this stuff, I personally have had tremendous success.
Some great shots there from warmer times from weeks past out here in the Bowzone. Those shots coming courtesy of this man, Taylor Thompson, inside the Wild TV studios as we roll along here. Episode 4 of Bowzone Live. Way warmer there compared to what everybody's dealing with now, Taylor. And you made short work of your season.
Yeah, I did.
Which is great. We saw you prepping. That was some of the footage you saw as you were getting set for your buck. What do we need to know before we finally get the big unveil here?
Well, for this one, it was just one of those opportunities that, you know, newer spot, put a trail camera out, got a single picture of this buck and a couple other decent bucks. And then it was just a matter of, I didn't have a stand set up at that point. It was just a matter of getting into that area and just trying to, you know, I was just picking a random tree and just trying to learn as I go. I didn't anticipate running into this buck that quickly, but it kind of all came together fast at that point.
All right, we've talked about it quite a bit. We've teased it. I think now is a good time to take a look at Taylor Thompson and his handiwork this year in the Bowzone.
Well, it's getting near the end of summer in Alberta here. Hunting season's coming close. We're close to home here. We got a picture of a really big 5x5. So we're getting a couple extra cameras set up in the area, trying to find this pattern, because that first couple weeks of September, they're often on their summer feeding pattern still, and it's a good time to get a big buck and just catch him coming out to the field. So we're going to set this camera up, a couple more, and try to figure out which lane he's going in and out, and maybe do some hanging hunts in another couple weeks when season starts.
Well, I'm all set here. Opening day, northern Alberta. Did a quick hanging hunt here in a kind of a newer area. We just put a camera here maybe a couple weeks ago, and there's a couple big whitetails on camera. Stay tuned. Let's do it. Realize they're coming out of this corner here, so I just got it all set up. It's hot again, but close to 30 Celsius, but haven't got any pictures of the big bucks 200 yards up, but I still think they're coming out of this corner perhaps. So we got an hour and 40 minutes left to sit, so we'll see what comes.
Well, here it is. We get a picture of this buck. It's in a newer spot, not too far from home. Sitting there, and all of a sudden I start hearing something walking through the grass the opposite way that I was expecting him. And it's a younger buck, 130-inch buck, 120-inch buck. Getting some footage of him, and I'm like, well, maybe they're still in bachelor herds at this point. Maybe the big guy. Haven't had a photo. Got one photo of him. He was at a nice angle, and this is a world-class buck. You know, you're taking that shot. This is definitely the biggest buck I've got. Big, clean 5x5. He's got everything. He's got everything you want. He has height. He has mass. He's very, very typical. So this might be a Boone and Crockett buck here. So definitely a hard one to top. And we still got moose and elk to go after. But this is my whitetail for the season.
Amazing buck, Taylor. That was awesome. You can see your excitement so early in the year too. I can't help but notice. I mean, we've seen some bucks on Bowzone Live over the years that have some huge racks that have crazy points all over the place. That thing was symmetrical, and you know that's associated with beauty. What can you say about that one?
Yeah, it's, you know, most of my other bucks I've shot have been kind of, you know, they have some trash on them. This one is just extremely typical. When we green scored it, he's only a 1-inch difference from net score to gross score. So, you know, we green scored him Boone and Crockett net typical at this point, which is something I didn't think I would ever get. So I you know, maybe consider myself a little lucky. But.
Right. I mean, is this one you're going to be bragging about for years because you said it's rare, right? Like,
yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, probably will be. You know, I'm sure everybody's already sick of hearing it at this point, but hey, now everybody else gets to know about it too.
Was this your target buck?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I've never been a big target buck guy, but I got a single picture of it. I decided to just go sit on opening day of the season for this buck. I did a hang and hunt. Hot, walked in, climbing stick stand, was dying at that point. Sat, didn't really see much. A week later, decided to go give it another shot. So I climbed up, it was another hot day, moved that stand about 100 yards down at that point because I thought they were going to be coming out of there. So, and as you've seen on the footage, eventually it ended up coming up behind me, almost back from where my stand was earlier.
You were looking for another buck, or you were shooting another buck with your camera, not your bow, obviously.
Exactly, and that's the thing. So I thought they're going to come up in front of me, ended up coming out behind me. I started to hear something, and that's right when I swung the camera over. And at that point, I'm like, well, that's a big buck. And I'm like, that might be, I've only had one picture of that buck at this point. And at that point, I've never shot a buck in September. I'm usually a November guy. I love hunting the rut, but pretty hard to pass that one up at that point.
Well, you made the right decision, obviously. I know when you tell the story years down the road, maybe even as soon as tomorrow, you're going to be talking this thing up and be like, I skilled, that was all skill, that was pre-planning, that was prep, that's all me, baby. But how much of it do you honestly think is luck, and how much of it is the prep and being at the right place at the time?
It's, as anybody would know, it's right place, right time. You know, I just happened to decide to go to that spot that evening, and you know that I hadn't got a picture of that buck in weeks, so he just decided to come out that evening. So, and then, you know, just to be able to get the shot off, get the camera on him, because, you know, at that point, it's not easy. When a buck that big's coming, I'm scrambling to get my camera on, but I wanted to get it on camera. At one point, I was just going to give up because I didn't have much of a window to get the shot, but I'm like, I got to try to video it, right? Because nobody would believe me otherwise.
You got it all on video. Great job. Congratulations, Taylor. We're going to talk a little bit more with you in a bit. We've also got that great story with Ryan Kohler and a young hunter named Ty, who wrote in a handwritten cursive letter to Ryan, and the two of them had a chance to get together and share a pretty cool experience. We're going to see that with Ryan Kohler and young hunter Ty coming up, and then more with Taylor Thompson as well, right here on Bowzone Live. What is the minimum draw weight required for hunting whitetail deer with a bow in Alberta?
40 pounds.
35 pounds.
Very close.
40 pounds, although there is discussion about lowering that.
40. I know that because Chase, my youngest son, is now hunting with me, and he's got it at 40. But he's been doing some chinnies, so he's going to crank it up to 45 today.
Want to take another guess?
30?
40.
It was changed.
I don't know.
I actually know this. It was changed.
Tell me more about this.
Changed, and it was initiated by the Alberta Bowhunters Association. I believe that went through last year. I believe it's 35 pounds now.
I believe you.
2 points.
Yeah, debatable. All right, welcome back to Bowzone Live. Tom Gazzola with Taylor Thompson inside the Wild TV studios as we roll along. Hey, listen, we saw the footage. We saw how happy you were with that big, beautiful buck. You tagged out early. So what does that do for the rest of your season? You said it earlier, Taylor, like you're a guy that usually gets his buck around November, around this time. So not this year, though. What are you going to do with all your time, and how has that affected everything this season?
I usually try to get my buck.
Sorry,
Not always successful.
I'm being positive reinforcement here. That's what you're getting from me here.
Yeah, no, honestly, at that point, I was more into elk season anyways. I just happened to decide to go sit for this deer because I was short on time. So at that point, there's a lot of, we're going after elk. I got a bull elk, I think, a week after that. And then we rolled into moose season. And that took up a lot of October. And then since then, I've been sitting. I have a little extra stand I bring around, and I've been sitting with buddies and with my dad trying to get footage of them getting deer. So I'm still trying to live vicariously through them at that point.
How is Jim doing? Let's get a quick update. I know we saw a little snippet from him earlier, but like, what's Jim up to right now?
Yeah, I don't know. Like he's, if you guys only knew Jim like 30 years ago when he was in his prime, right? It's just like an athlete. Like you know, we talk about what he has.
He's a thoroughbred.
Yeah, exactly. So no, he's grinding. I'll give him credit. He's out there way more than I am at that point, and. He's trying. He's had some encounters, and you know, with this weather changing, I think he's going to run into one finally this year.
Okay, good. We're sending positive vibes to Jim, obviously, and all of our hunters that haven't tagged out yet. But you did get your beautiful buck. I'm assuming your wife is happy about that. You got a young family, the work life, pleasure balance. Like, how do you handle all of that?
Yeah, no. She probably was happy that night. She's like, "Oh yeah, so you're done now?" And I'm like, you know, I didn't really answer that question because.
Did she get mad immediately?
Yeah, no. She was happy because she thought I was done. But now looking back on it, it didn't really change too much. But no, the balance, you know, it's, as anybody knows, it's tough. I work shift work. I do get a lot of days off, but I'm on nights a lot as well. So I make it work by the end of season. As I was telling Tom earlier off camera, it can be a grind. You're halfway to a divorce, and then for the next 9 months, you're recovering at that point.
That's
do it
raw,
all again.
Unscripted and live, right here on Bowzone Live. Okay, well, last one, because we're going to have a young hunter coming up with Ryan Kohler. What is the best piece of advice your dad has passed along to you as you were growing up?
I would say best piece of advice was just he's a very positive person. Anybody that's met him, you know, he's just always ready to go out that next day, even if you're not seeing anything. It's just he always says, you know, you can't shoot something from bed, so you got to get out there and you got to try, right? Yep. And that's what I try to tell everybody, even though sometimes it's a grind, but you just. Yeah, you got to keep going after it.
Okay, I love that, and that's a positive mentality. And we're gonna see what Ryan Kohler imparts on young Ty coming up next on Bowzone Live. Don't go anywhere, Taylor, because we're going to need you for the end of the show, all right?
Sounds good.
All right, more with Taylor Thompson a little bit later on, and then Ryan Kohler and young hunter Ty Bazzilo coming up next right here on Bowzone Live.
Behind the Bow with Ryan Kohler.
The top 3 hunts on my bucket list right now would be to try to shoot a whitetail in every province in Canada. Whitetails are a lot older than a lot of people think when they see a photo of a deer. Most people think that he's going to be bigger next year, but more than half the time, it's an old deer and he could be smaller. I got heat stroke on the mountains hunting sheep 15 years ago, and now the heat just affects me in a weird way. So I'd rather minus 15 or 20 than plus 35. I can't stand the heat. I just work at it every day like a psycho. I mean, every day. It's in my blood. I love it. I'll never stop. The heated gear, I think, is pretty cool. I think that's been a pretty cool thing. What you should do, if you have a photo of a deer and it's in the daylight going by a tree, just sit there and wait. I'll be like my lucky hat or my lucky scarf or my lucky this or that. I'm definitely a creature of habit. Have something in your mind that you say to yourself before you shoot so you can keep your nerves in check. Now all I do is I just say aim super loud in my mind. The louder I say it, the more it cuts out all the noise.
Behind the Bow with Ryan Kohler.
Welcome back to Bowzone Live. Tom Gazzola with Ryan Kohler here in studio at Wild TV. Ryan, how are you? Good to see you as always.
Good, yeah, really, very good, yep.
Excellent. Listen, now we saw Ty Bazilo's story. We teased it a little bit earlier on the letter that he wrote to you, which was really cool. We saw it in the preview episode of this season's Bowzone Live, and you had some time to spend with Ty. Give us a little bit of a synopsis of who Ty is and how this all came to be.
Ty is a young man. I think he's 12 years old, and he wrote a letter to someone that he, I think, wanted to meet. They explain the full story, or we can get Ty to explain the full story, but basically he wrote a letter to myself and Mitch Marner.
Yep.
And so I was pretty flattered that I was in that conversation at all. Mitch Marner didn't reply, but if somebody writes you a handwritten letter, I think you deserve, for sure a reply. And if you can go out of your way to bring somebody in and show them the ropes a little bit, I think that was just the obvious thing to do.
You must have felt like Mitch Marner getting a handwritten letter from
It was amazing.
a kid, yeah.
Yeah, super cool. A kid wrote me a handwritten letter. I can't even believe it, to be honest. So.
Did you send Ty 8x10 glossy signed?
No, I don't have anything to sign. I don't have that stuff.
I'm kidding.
But yeah, no, we had him over at the house, and we showed him, how to be quiet and how to dress. And I think those are some pretty important things. Just make sure all your clothes are, super quiet, and taught him how to move in the woods. And I think that's kind of step one for someone that's learning how to hunt.
It's a pretty cool story. And we actually have Ty Bazilo with us right now. Ty, what's up? How was your experience with Ryan? You got to spend some time with him.
It was really fun, and I got to learn a lot of stuff.
Yeah, what kind of stuff did you pick up from Ryan?
Just like how to hunt in the bow zone, how to be quiet, and just how to hunt really big deer and get after them.
What was the neatest part about it? Was it cold? Did you learn something that you didn't expect? What'd you see that was pretty cool?
Just like how Ryan can just get deer coming all the time and go after them being really quiet in there and just know how to hunt the deer in the bow zone.
Ryan, how about having Ty? What stood out to you about his abilities as a young hunter really early on?
Well, he listened, right? That's half the battle, is getting someone to listen to what you're telling them, and he listened to all the details, and I'm sure he took a lot away from it, and I bet he'll be a better hunter for sure. Actually, I know he's a better hunter because he did quite well after he left my place.
Okay, well, you have a wealth of knowledge, obviously, a wealth of experience, and you're passing that on to Ty. And fortunately, you guys had the cameras rolling, and we had a chance to see what you and Ty were up to. So let's take a look at that right now.
Okay, we're gonna go meet Ty and his dad Sam, and this will be kind of fun. Awesome. How's it going?
Good, yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Ryan. Nice to meet you. Face to face.
Our teacher asked us to write a letter to somebody, and I've been watching Ryan a lot on the TV, so I really wanted to actually know him, so I wrote a letter to him, and I kept talking over phone, and then figured a weekend out and going hunting this weekend.
First thing you want to do in the bow zone is make sure all your stuff's quiet, right? So this stuff, because it's a little scratchy and it's going to be nice and frosty tomorrow morning, then that'll be pretty loud clothing. Awesome. That's a pretty lucky sweater. Killed a lot of bucks in that one.
Since I've been here, Ryan has showed me how to shoot my bow, where to anchor, and just tune my bow so I'm hitting on point.
It's my first night with Ty. We're going to head out into the stand and we're going to try and rattle in some big bucks. What do you think, buddy?
Hopefully we get one.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
Yeah? We got about a kilometer walk into the back area where there's a big bush and there's lots of bucks living back there. Okay. Okay, Ty and I are up in the stand.
right beside me here. We're gonna wait for about 40 minutes and then we're gonna rattle. Hopefully something happens. How's it going, buddy? Good. At this time of year, the leaves, they make a lot of noise. And when you rattle from the top of the tree, it's not awesome. It's not the best. So I'm gonna rattle from the ground. And I'm gonna make a whole bunch of noise down here. And then Ty's up there. And then we'll see if we can draw a buck in. I used to do this when I was a kid, so that's why I thought of it. Because this stuff's fun for kids. So hopefully it's fun for you too, and hopefully it's fun for him. Because this is gonna be funny. I think he's having fun watching me. Should've worked.
So this morning we went out and there was a really nice buck on camera. It was this one with a doe, but he came in the dark so we couldn't get out fast enough to actually go after him. We've been chasing this buck for a few years, and so we had a pretty good idea he was gonna be in here because this is pretty close to where I saw him and I spooked him a little. Not even an hour after we grunted, all I see is just horn coming through the bush. I was shaking so much, my heart was beating, I didn't know what to do. He comes about 100 yards and stops. But I made a little noise, so he kind of was a little skittish. So then he looked down, so I grabbed my gun, put it up, and he looked right at me, and I shot him right in the chest. Just a beautiful buck. We've been chasing him for a while. He's really cool, got split G1s, and the kicker's very cool. We've been chasing him for a long time, and I'm just very happy to be able to shoot him this year. Thanks, Ryan, for taking me out this fall for a few nights. It was a very fun time. Didn't get anything, but came out here tonight and filled my tag.
All right, that was great. Ty Bozzilo's first time. We've got Ty with us still. You were the one who was lucky enough to take him out and show him the ropes. All right, Ty, I got to ask you a couple of questions as you begin your journey as a hunter. What for you would be like the ultimate hunt that you want to do in your lifetime?
One of them would probably go down south and shoot a really big antelope.
Really? All right, can you hook him up with that?
I think that if he keeps putting in for the draw every year in Alberta, he'll get it, and then eventually he can go down there and get his antelope for sure, yep.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so that's doable.
Yeah.
What kind of advice would you give to other young hunters if they asked you what it's like to go out there?
Just always just stay quiet out there and just know your area and how to hunt it and where the deer are.
He sounds like a lot of our hunters.
It's the best advice, really. I mean, the first thing you need to know is where the deer are for sure. If you're hunting in a place where you're guessing, then you're just guessing. But if you've done your homework and you know where the deer are, then that's the first step, the biggest step right there.
Okay, I have to ask Ty this because he sent a letter to Ryan Kohler, who's sitting beside me here in studio, and Mitch Marner, who's in Toronto. What do you think is cooler, going out with Ryan Kohler or maybe seeing Mitch Marner in person?
Probably going hunting with Ryan.
That's the right answer there. Okay, I'll ask you this, Ryan, because I know you've got your boys and you've had a lot of young hunters that you've probably mentored, and Ty's now among them. What are some key things that you imparted on Ty and you want others to know that we might not have hit on so far?
Some key things with the kids is just learning how to shoot properly. That's probably the biggest thing, and then learning how to be quiet. Being quiet in the woods is so important, especially in the Bowzone. These animals are really sensitive to sound. You know, we have a tough environment where there's leaves everywhere in the early season, then even snow can be loud at times, so you just got to be real quiet, learn how to use your weapon, and then I think a lot of tricks in the stand and understanding how to move in the stand and when you get an opportunity, so you make the most of it, and that takes time. That's going to take a lot of time, but I think the best thing about kids is when you first start hunting, you get really excited, like everybody does. And when those animals come in for the first time, you get so jazzed up. When you're sitting with a kid, you go back in time because you're watching them get jazzed up and get so excited and start to shake. I mean, your adrenaline starts to get you and your legs and everything starts shaking. And that happens again. It happens to you again. So you can almost go back in time. Taking kids is the best thing because they love it and it's super fun for you too.
That's the old saying, we're all kids at heart, I suppose. Okay, Ty, last one for you, buddy. When are you getting out next for your next hunt?
We might try to go out to our trap line this weekend to go after my elk because that's all I got left.
I like it. I like it.
He's tagged out, almost tagged out. You got a big moose and a humongous non-typical whitetail that blows my mind. I mean, it's amazing.
That is absolutely phenomenal. Ty, thanks for hopping on with us today. Congratulations hanging out with this guy because he's awesome too. We'll talk to you hopefully again soon. Maybe you're going to be a hunter on the show in the years in the future.
Maybe, hopefully.
All right, buddy. Thanks for doing this today and congrats.
Thanks, Ty.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that's Ty Bozzilo. Nice to see him out with you, Ryan, and imparting that wisdom is really cool. I like that. You're shaking for him. You go back in time a little bit. Really, really neat. All right, some of our experienced hunters have had a good go at it so far, and we're at the midway point of Season 5 of Bowzone Live. Time to take a look back at what we've seen so far this season.
Stuff.
Yeah,
amazing stuff.
Let's have a look.
Well, here's my opening day buck. I'm super pumped. This is just a dream. Never thought in a million years that I'd be tagged out on day one. What a tremendous trophy. Like, look at the mass.
I just shot a giant. He's an awesome deer. I was filming a 140, and all of a sudden he just emerged right behind him. Lots of blood there. Oh, there he is. There he is, right there. Oh, yeah. Right on. That's a beautiful buck.
Okay, well, Logan killed a smasher yesterday, and being the early season, in fact, what is this, the third day of the season now? I thought, you know what, I gotta sit and see what happens. So I sat and I'm filming a really nice 4x4, and lo and behold, right beside it, this guy comes in, and I just couldn't pass this up. He's a beautiful buck. I'm super stoked.
Well, here he is, 28-yard shot. I made a good shot. He only went about 40 yards. Unfortunately, this is a case of mistaken identity. There's another buck that I rattled in a few days ago, and I forgot my rangefinder. And tonight it was about 10 minutes left of legal, and he came in, started raking the tree. I made a judgment call, and this is a beautiful buck. It's just not the buck that I was aiming for this year. So my buck is to live another year.
Hi, my name's Nick Taylor. I just managed to get an arrow into one of my target bucks, so I'm just gonna head in and get my hands on him. Heard this guy starting to come in behind me, and had to take a bit of a sneaky shot. got it done. He went about 40 yards. And yeah, rest is history. Been watching this guy for a while. He passed on several other bucks. Sure glad I did.
Welcome back to Bowzone Live. Tom Gazzola inside the Wild TV studios with Ryan Kohler. We've got a great show so far, a little bit left to go, and we saw Ty Bazzilo there, who got to hang out with you, Ryan. And listen, I really like what you said. You know, you kind of reminded yourself of when you were a kid, and you got the same passion and feeling your early days as a hunter as well. It's neat to see. Well, you act like it too. Well, did you give him a juice box?
I should have, but no, I got to rattle on the ground, and I haven't done that since I was a kid. So you get down off the tree stand, then you run around the bottom of the stand making noise like two bucks actually fighting. So when we rattle in the stand, you're just, you know, basically rattling in the tree, and it makes that echoey sound, and then bucks come to it. But when I was a kid, we didn't even have tree stands, so we were stuck on the ground. So we did really good rattling from the ground because you can make the actual sounds that the deer make. You can make like more of a fight sequence that sounds real. So you're scraping the ground, breaking trees, and all that stuff, and that's what they actually do in the wild. So I think it works better, but for whatever reason, most guys do it in the stand. Well, obviously because you're alone and you got to shoot. But I've done it before where I actually got down because I've been bored and I just run around for 5 minutes, get back up and sit down, and hopefully you don't get busted. You do get busted.
Yeah.
You do get busted.
Right.
But with kids, they love it because, you know, he's sitting in the tree stand watching me laughing because I look like a goober doing it, right? And it's just a fun thing to do.
What about like passing on like traditions, little tips and tricks and stuff like that? I'm sure you had that passed down to you. Well, you passed down to your kids, I'm sure.
I think the kids are the next generation, right? It's super important to take kids. It's important to teach what I've learned and pass it on because, you know, they're going to be the next generation of hunters. And that's something, you know, a part of our culture and lifestyle we don't want to lose. So anytime you get kids that are keen, you know, you got to get out there and take a kid hunting, take a kid fishing.
Proper practices and adhering to protocols and stuff like that is obviously important. It's not school. This isn't school, and you're not sitting there trying to bore them to death.
The best kind of school.
Okay, that's a good way to put it. They're actually in the field there, and I think that's something you want them to learn is the right way.
So many things to learn from being outside and in that environment, and you know, it's a raw environment, and watching animals and just interacting with all the things that happen to you when you're outside. It's great for kids. I think it should be like a class.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could read a textbook, you could read about ethics. I'm sure Kevin Wilson would be like, teach them, use the book.
Yeah,
but
he'd be great at it.
Yeah, he would be because he is excellent at that. But I don't know, I thought that was really neat. And the fact that he reached out to you and a hockey superstar, and you were nice enough to reply and say, you know what, come with me,
where's
kid.
Mitch Marner, man? Come on.
Right, exactly.
Somebody get that kid an autographed jersey or something.
Yeah, exactly. I like it. But you were able to give him an experience of a lifetime. But excellent. Well done, sir, as always. And congrats to Ty. That was tremendous. All right, let's take a look at conditions for our hunters, yourself included. What are we looking at here, Ryan, as we go into a busy week and some snow coming up as well as some colder temps?
Yeah, you've got a lot of snow in the next 24 hours, it looks like, so, or even the next 48 hours, it looks like. So for me, it's awesome because it covers that forest floor. And when the snow comes down, it covers the forest floor. If there's enough of it, you can actually walk to your stand pretty silently. And I think that's been a problem that we've had lately because it's really hard to get to the stand and not get busted by like walking on the leaves. It's super loud, so you got to go either really, really slow, but now you can kind of boogie to your stand, and the deer won't hear you coming. You don't hear them either, so there's like, it's a catch-22 always. And sometimes if the snow comes down heavy enough, it actually fills all the trees all around too, and it's even harder to see. But getting into your location silent, for me, it's like 90% of the battle. As long as you've done your homework, you know where the deer are, and you can get in silently and use the wind, then you're really rock starring it at that point. So
great stuff, Ryan. Thanks for coming in the studio today.
No problem.
Hey, good to see you. Ryan Kohler, great stuff from him as always. We have a contest winner to announce. Congratulations to Juliana Patry, I believe out of Clyde. A great photo there. What are we looking at? Nice buck.
Big old buck.
Big old buck. Congratulations, Juliana. Absolutely fantastic. We'll be reaching out to you next week as well. So thanks to all who entered. We've got more giveaways just around the corner with Wild TV. More on the way here on Bowzone Live.
You know, when it comes to deer toys, nothing beats Hodag Outdoors, their hemp scent rope and their licking branch setup. I use both of those with the all-season scent, and it's absolutely incredible. I couldn't believe it the first time I used it. You hang this rope from something over, I like to use it over or close to where a scrape is going to be, and deer literally find it and they play with it. They'll literally stop and they'll play with their antlers with the rope. The does will sit and smell it, they'll knock it around. It actually just holds them kind of in place. So it's almost like having a bait, but not a bait. So it holds them in place, and it's great for somebody that's looking to have a shot opportunity. With the licking branch, a lot of times we find scrape locations where we want to make a mock scrape. The best thing to do, of course, is have a licking branch over top. Hodag Outdoors, check it out, hodagOutdoors.com. This stuff's awesome.
When considering wind conditions, what is the recommended maximum crosswind speed at which a bow hunter should attempt a shot at 30 yards?
I don't know, I just go, I ain't shooting.
That's how good he is.
What you should?
Yeah. Recommended.
Maybe 30.
I'm going to say 35 kilometers an hour.
What is it in miles per hour?
I don't know in miles per hour.
I would say 50 kilometers or 30 miles would be sort of on the outside myself, but that's just my perspective.
Let's say 40 kilometers an hour.
I mean, I wouldn't go hunting in 40-kilometer winds. I think that's getting kind of crazy.
16 kilometers.
16 kilometers, final answer?
Final answer.
Depends on how much they practice it.
Recommended, though?
Recommended? Get away with 10, 15.
The answer I've got here is 10 to 15 miles per hour. So what's that, like 30 kilometers-ish, 35? Yeah, we'll play with the math on that one, yeah. All right, it's been another fun episode of Bowzone Live right here on Wild TV. Once again, Tom Gazzola with Taylor Thompson inside the Wild TV studios. All right, we've seen a lot of cool stuff today, Taylor. We got a chance to talk about your buck. One thing that's kind of neat about this show, and obviously with a lot of hunting shows, is self-filming. Yeah. A lot of our hunters, especially when we started this 5 seasons ago, didn't know how to self-film. Mm-hmm. So how did you get used to it? Did you already have a base knowledge? I know we live in the cell phone generation, and I'm sure you're giving Jim some tricks and tips and stuff like that. What are some keys to your success when you want to shoot stuff on camera as opposed to with the bow?
Yeah, the biggest thing is you got to be committed to it. You know, we've had lots over the years where it's, you know, oh, I got the shot on the deer. Oh, did you get it on film? No, I didn't have time. Like it's one of those things. I've had a couple encounters where I've not gotten a shot at a deer because, you know, you're trying to do a lot of things. It happens fast. But my big tip with that one is I always try to point it in the direction. You always kind of know your dominant trail where you think the deer will come. I'll usually put it in the spot that's a spot I think a deer might come, but it's the hardest to quickly adjust to.
Right.
So I almost have it in my B spot because I know the A spot's quick and easy to swing to. I'll kind of have it in my more awkward spot, so there's just less going on if it comes from there. So that's one little trick I do.
Have you had any instances where it's kind of like crossed you up and you're like, oh, I chased one away by moving around too much?
Yeah, I've had that for sure. You know, I've got a little toggle switch now on the handle of my camera arm that I can zoom in and zoom out and stop recording. It's kind of an auxiliary piece, so you're not reaching to your camera as much. So I found that's helped. And yeah, I've had other times where I have it set up and I'm waiting for a buck to get into the trail. And I'm like, oh, it's not in my camera shot. And I ended up not getting a chance at the buck. And then I go back and watch the footage, and it turns out the buck was in my camera spot the whole time.
Right.
So you kind of want to have the camera so you can see the viewfinder, you know, and just kind of see what's going on. So, you know, you kind of kick yourself in the butt after that, but that's part of it.
It is part of it,
Yeah.
and ultimately you guys get the bucks anyway.
Yeah.
Another thing, hang and hunt. This is something you've been doing. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it's something I've always been doing, but this year I tried it because, you know, with this buck, it was a newer property. We'd put the cameras out a couple weeks before season. So when I went in for my first sit, It was really just a one long bush line on a field edge. So it was hard to really know where I want to go. So I didn't want to spend a bunch of time putting a permanent stand in, knowing that I'll probably have to move it. So it was like 30 degrees out. I packed all that stuff on my back, really regretted, you know, walking that mile, but I got up there and, you know, I had my climbing sticks and my tree stand on my back, and I just kind of walked, picked a tree that didn't need much trimming because, you know, you need some shooting lane. So it's hard to find the right tree, but I just picked a tree, got up there, and, you know, it worked out for me in the end.
Right. Is hang and hunt something you would recommend for everybody, or do you gotta kind of have a certain?
It's one of those things where, you know, a lot of people do that with climbing tree stands. A similar idea where maybe you want to go in and you don't want to leave your stuff and you come out, especially if you're hunting public land. It's a good way to cover multiple spots. You know, you're not really committed to sitting in the same spot because you've put it up and now you don't want to move it. So being mobile, and especially in early season when deer are on their feeding patterns, it's good to maybe try to hone in where they are. And then in the rut, right now, like the other guys are doing, like when you're finding fresh scrapes, fresh sign, you can kind of hop around and try to get right in their bedroom.
How much fun was it being in studio with me?
Honestly,
come on.
It was unreal.
Unreal.
Yeah, just a professional.
Likewise.
And you know what? Hopefully I'll be on here every year because that means I've shot a buck every year. So
that's right.
If you guys don't see me in 5 years, I might have already sold my stuff on Marketplace because I don't want to go through another dry spell like that.
You didn't let us down this year. Great stuff, Taylor. Shake and bake.
Yeah,
give you one of those. You're great. Again, excellent choice in style, I have to admit. Great minds think alike. I'll reiterate that. But a huge thank you to Taylor Thompson today. We have another great show coming up. We're going to see Ryan Kohler and what he's been up to. Chase Kohler will also be with him. They're seeing some great shots of some nice bucks. Louis DeBrusque is going to be a part of the show. And then we're also going to hear this crazy story of a Bowzone buck from 4 seasons ago that we thought might have gotten away. And one of Ryan's friends, Blair St. Martin, put an end to that. So it's going to be an awesome show. Can't wait to show you everything coming up with the big Lou dog. What do you say about Lou?
Big Lou shoots big bucks.
Well, but he makes them look small because he's such a big guy. Yeah. For Taylor Thompson, I'm Tom Gazzola saying thanks for watching another fantastic edition of Bowzone Live right here on Wild TV. We'll see you next time.
Bowzone Live is brought to you by these fine sponsors: Aventura, Annihilator, Bronc Beer, Hex, Lone Wolf Taxidermy, Lowdown Viewer, Moultrie Products, Onyx Maps, Portable Winch Co., Timber Stoves, and Wild TV Plus.